I think the only way to survive in this economy, in this time, right now it's November 6th, 2025. I think the only way to survive as a creative, as a videographer, as an indie filmmaker, as a one person business who specializes in video services, as a brand storyteller, as a creative strategist, as a whatever the fuck subtitle you want to go with. I think the only way to survive is to brand and market yourself in 2026 as a creative director. And that's what I did, and it pulled me out of the trenches. So I had to learn creative direction. Well, how do you become a creative director? So I wrote some notes over here. If you see me looking, that's what I'm looking at. And I came up with 7 ideas on how to become a creative director. Well, first of all, it's just a title. Give it to yourself. Just, you're a creative director. Just do it. You don't need to go to college. You don't need to get a fancy certificate. You don't need to learn from some guru master. You don't need to take a course. Just boom. Knives Monroe says you're a creative director, so that's what you fucking are. Let's just go with that. Let's start with that. Second, you need experience doing and failing at everything. You need to master the art of showing up and fucking up. You need experience doing the thing. So that means having a vision and being able to articulate that vision. That means showing up and documenting and doing the video part of the job. Showing up on social media. What kind of company are you working for? Is it an e-commerce company? Is it an oil rig company? Is it services or a product or a SaaS company? This context matters. But you need to audit the company, what they need. Where do they need to exist? Is it B2B? Is it B2C? That's going to be probably more LinkedIn strategy. Maybe if it's e-com, it's going to be more Instagram focused, Shopify focused, right? This context matters, but you have to be able to know the vocabulary of the game in order to play it. So hit the books, hit YouTube University, and if you're a filmmaker, odds are you have the background of what a vision is, right? You're able to articulate what's in your head and put it out on the screen. If you're able to do that, I think you can succeed. You got to be able to track KPIs, metrics, and tie that to the organic side and attribute that to monetization. So you might need to look into CRMs such as Go High Level, Zoho, things of that nature, and get very familiar with the vocabulary of how to do that. How do you track organic leads? Every comment is a lead, right? This does matter when it comes to creative direction because at the end of the day, we're not just a spoke on the wheel. Yeah, the wheel is going to keep on turning. There's going to be churn and things of that nature are going to come in and out, but you have to be able to articulate video storytelling to results. We're in a result driven industry. It's not just telling stories and checking boxes just for the sake of content, not for the sake of going viral and trying to monetize YouTube. It's attributed to generating leads. That's what these companies give a fuck about. That's the bottom line. You can bring your heart and the soul, but you have to articulate it to dollars and cents. Don't trip over your tools. Don't trip over Notion, Milanote, CapCut, what have you. The tools don't make you the creative director. The tools are just that. They're just tools in your toolkit. That's it. Take them or leave them. Tools evolve and change over time. Get familiar with the Canvas, the Photoshops, the Final Cut Pros, the Adobe Premieres. Sure, you need to be articulate in that, but don't trip over the tools. One of the last things I want to note here is think about all the shitty bosses you've had and all the great leaders you've had and take the best out of what you've worked with them and what you've learned from them and be the greatest leader that you can be, because part of being a creative director is also leading a team. So my experience with the leaders that I've learned and grown with is be the first dude to pick up the trash. Don't bitch about the trash. Don't give someone advice or an assignment or tell them what to do if you wouldn't do it in the first place. If your team sees you sweeping up the trash, that's going to inspire them to pick up and clean up after themselves as well, so to speak, right? So that's something I've learned from my mentors is be the change you want to see. Don't bitch about the trash that you're not willing to pick up anyways, right? Make sure everybody eats first. As a leader, you eat last, right? So to speak. Take this and apply this to creativity, to a video editor, you know, tell them what you dig about the piece first, overload them with what you love, and then tell them how they can make it better, how it could more come close to the vision, right? Lastly, if you want to become a creative director, if you're a filmmaker, if you're an indie filmmaker like me, and you have a filmmaking background, just think of being a creative director as a super auteur. You have your fingerprints on all the facets, on all the verticals. You have your fingerprints on photography, on videography, on distribution, on tracking metrics, on creating leads. You get to call those shots. You're the one articulating that vision. It's just like being a filmmaker. You're in charge as a director of the set decoration. You're in charge of the actors. You're in charge of the edit. If you have Final Cut, you're in charge of the edit. You're in charge of the color of the picture and so on. You're a super auteur, but just with a business focus. Yes, you're a storyteller. Yes, you're going to be maybe creating newsletters on Substack as well, or creating a ghostwriting on LinkedIn or something of that nature. But at the end of the day, it's about the dollars and the cents. You have to be able to attribute this to revenue, because that's what makes a creative director, at least in my opinion, in 2025, 2026. If you want me to continue this conversation, like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to talk more about this. I hadn't really seen this video out on YouTube, so I thought I'd be one of the first to make it. How to be a creative director in 2026. I really think that's going to make you money in this crazy economy, in this crazy America that we live in right now. Anyways, my name's Knives Monroe. Like, comment, and subscribe, all that shit. Check out my stand store if you're more interested in wanting to consult with me, or if you're interested in other products that I might have. Love you guys. Keep a force field around your heart, and I'll see you guys at the next video.